Hi there, I'm Shane Spiers, and welcome to another edition of the Summit Interviews, beaming out to you from the beautiful city of Bath in the UK. My guest today is Nic Rixon. Nic, a very warm welcome. Great to have you on our show.
Morning.
For those of you that don't know him, Nic is a successful entrepreneur who has built and sold companies in manufacturing, property, training, and commercial design. Nic knows about the challenges of growing a successful business and managing people. He was one of the founding partners of Shurlaws and SGFE, responsible for driving the growth of the business. In addition to the consulting with hundreds of mid-tier businesses, he has worked with British Aerospace, Sony Pictures, HSBC, Adventist, Pharmaceuticals, Direct Selling Association, and Oxford University. Nic has also been invited to deliver keynote presentations at numerous business schools in the UK and Europe on business strategy. Nic, the title of our interview today is Nic Rixon, SGFE, and we've 5 minutes for the interview. If you're ready, I'll start the clock.
Give it a go.
What is it about business that drives you?
The coaching business or SGFE or just generally supporting other businesses?
Oh, business generally.
Okay. Well, if I sit in the old businesses that I ran when I was running them myself, first rule is loneliest place on the planet. Running your own business. And I got my first mentor when I was 25. When I worked out, I knew how to design and build a product, but I didn't know how to run a business with 60 guys in building that product, especially as most of them were old enough to be my father. So, and that changed my life. And then I got involved in training and coaching and very quickly was giving back. I had people coming into my businesses to learn how we were doing things in there and just found that was just such a huge pleasure. The email you get saying, thanks, you changed my whole business and changed my whole life is worth its weight in gold. So,
when you're in a coaching session, what is it that you enjoy the most?
well, number one, not having to have all the answers. So that helps enormously. Getting really, really good at extracting the asset that sits inside a business that very often the owner is unaware of. Is really exciting. The moment when they get that realization, oh my God, we're doing this because we're so fantastic at that. That's great fun. Shifting management teams. I've got a particular client I'm working with at the moment. The owner's got a heart of gold, but he's got a bullying style. He isn't aware of that. And making him aware of that, it was quite a shocker. So the ability to sit in that neutral space where I can have a conversation, a real conversation with the CEO and say, look, you can't speak to your staff like that because all the staff are terrified to tell him. That's a big, I come home from a day like that really jazzed.
What is the one thing you enjoy about your job?
Well, go back to CEO of your own business is the loneliest place on earth. The thing I love about this job most, I suppose, is that I am completely independent. Whilst I'm still working with a group of great people, it's the old for myself, but not by myself. So, and I suppose the variety as well. I can get it, and no day is ever the same, ever the same. Even if I'm going back into the same client I went into last month, it's never the same.
And what is SGFE?
Well, first thing everybody says is what does SGFE stands for? So it stands for Strategic Growth for Enterprise, which was way too long to actually say. So we're a growth agency. We specialize in helping businesses grow. It's a mathematically based formula that originally came out of the funds management world, which was designed to calculate the specific points at which businesses get stuck and why they get stuck. So what we do is normally work with businesses around 750 turnover. They're getting up to that 5, 6, 7 staff. Show them why 96% of businesses in this country never get past 1 million because they never work out how. And there's a mathematical formula and a trigger that allows them to jump through that 750 sticking point, if you like, through to about 1.5 million. Then they're on a different journey. So our journey is kind of 750 to about 24 million. That's where we pick up most of the business we work with. Still very entrepreneurial driven, still very driven by small groups of teams that we can work with. We don't do a lot of work with corporates. I do, but that's not our focus. We get pulled in because of the work we do in mid-tier businesses. So people leave mid-tier businesses and go and work for corporates and take us with them. But typically our focus is the entrepreneurial journey. We're a group of 10 people in the UK, but we've got people in Australia that work with us, and a couple of groups where we've set separate businesses up that we work together. So we have our own studio and marketing business that designs strategies for people. But our focus, my team's focus, is growth strategies.
And I've heard you use a term, leverage your natural flow. What does that mean?
Well, it's leverage an asset rather than flow, but I take what you mean. So what typically happens is that, look, a lot of businesses make a logical extension. So you're an estate agent, you're selling houses, you think it would be good to rent houses. If I look at that as an example, the skill in a estate agent selling houses is sales. The skill in a rental property business is administration, and salespeople are rubbish at administration. So they take a logical extension, move it left, and set up a new business. What we go look for is what's the specific core asset that allows you to do that, whatever it is that you do, better than anybody else, and take that and find something else to do with it. So I've taken businesses that have, for example, been thing management. So they manage things, so like containers on ships or furniture in a warehouse. So they manage a physical thing and can identify where it is, track deliveries, etc. And they would naturally have gone, okay, we manage containers on the sea, we'll go to managing containers on the road. But when you look at the asset that they had inside that business, it's a very specific case study. You look at the asset that sits inside that business. It was an incredibly sophisticated piece of software that managed things. So they took that, once we identified what it was, and turned it into a document storage management piece of software. So it manages documents online, which have got huge, the data storage now in some businesses, the documents that they hold online, absolutely massive. They now make more money out of that software than they did out of using it themselves. So it's finding that core asset. Sometimes it's culture, sometimes it's a training system, sometimes it's something else. So I've taken estate agent businesses and started a school because the training system was so brilliant that the training was what eventually made them the most money. And that's a big aha moment when you find that core asset that sits inside a business and they realize, oh, it's not my product and it's not how I make my product. It's actually something else. That's then you can make real spectacular changes in the business.
Well, sadly, we've come to the end of our time. For more resources, folks, check out Nic's site, www.sgfe.co.uk.